Marcon, the Gospel of Mark. The last time I did this class, well, not the last time, but the first time I did this class from Greek was in it was 4/7/1976. That was a little while ago, wasn't it? 1976, 76, 86, 96, 2006, 2016. It's almost 40 years ago. Nearly 38 years ago plus. Well, we're talking about the betrayal.
Betrayal?
The betrayal and the arrest of Jesus. He's in Gethsemane. Our last class was on the failures in Gethsemane. And we're, of course, reading this from Greek, and I've had all kinds of comments from all over the world about this. They just really are liking this. And one of them is from Wales. And Donald Grewar, I want to show this to you so you'll know what it is. All of my notes are cross-referenced to this book, the Analytical Greek Lexicon. I have other lexicons that I quote, but this Analytical Greek Lexicon was from Zondervan, and I think this was 19... Here it is here. I'll show you the deal there so you can see this all on the other side of the world. Grand Rapids, Michigan. And the last printing was 1972. So that's a long time ago. Now you can buy this on eBay or Amazon or something. You can find them out there, and they're usually pretty high. I do have one, but I don't think I've got it in PDF form. I went through this whole book and I completely redesigned it. I wrote things that it left out. And I think I have a copy of that, but I don't think I've done it in PDF form. I try to do all of my work in PDF form so you can have it all over the world. And again, one of the Nessel Allen text, this is a wide margin, and in the original Greek text, of course it's all Greek, it's not English. And down at the bottom of it are footnotes that tell you about every little particle, every adverb, every preposition, every definite article that is in there that is questionable. And sometimes there is much writing about the centuries where they were found, different readings were found. But the book here, when we look at it now, I believe it is as valid as if when John wrote it or Mark wrote it or whoever wrote whatever book that we're studying. The Catholic Church and the Muslim Empire did everything they could do to destroy the original Bibles. Now, if you go back to 325 AD, when the Catholic Church began under Constantine, he had 50 copies of the whole Bible made in Greek, all in uncials, and the uncials are all capitals. This is the first Bible I ever had. And that's all capitals, uncials, just like it was written when the apostles that wrote it. And also, I can find it. Here you can see as it was written originally. It was written in 3 columns. And it was written on very expensive parchment papers. They found, we have 3 of these Bibles that were copied in 325 AD. One of them is the Codex Alexandrinus, the Codex Vaticanus, and the Codex Sinaiticus. That one was found in Mount Sinai. Now we're going to read this, and I thought I'd give that to you a little bit of preparation for the class. We have Like I said, I've got Thayer's up there. I've got Bauer, Art, and Gingrich. I've got the, wherever that one is now. It's got to be up there someplace. The Liddell and Scott. All about 3 shelves here are filled with lexicons from Greek. When I go back, I study different words, and I'll share that with you as I go. Because the Bible in a translation looks like a poorly lighted, dimly lit black and white. But in the original language, the Bible is like full color and 3-dimensional. You can see all around and everything with it. And we're going to look at this from that standpoint. Now, Marilyn, have you got your open? Have you got yours open?
What number is it?
14 and verse 43 is where we're going to start. Mark 14:43. Because I know you can read Greek, and you too, Sharon.
14 what?
14:43. You should have it marked there.
Kai?
What is the first word?
Kai.
Kai. Euthus.
Euthus.
Eti.
Epi.
Auton.
Auton.
Lalontes. Paragenete. Ho. Judas. Ace. That's haste now. That's with a rough breather on it. Haste. Tone. Duodeca. Kai. Met. Auto. Oklos. Meta. Makaro. Kai. Zilon. Para. Tone. Akerion. Kai. Tone. Grammation. Kai. Tone. Presbyteron. And that word Kai, that's on page 208 in that little lexicon there, Donald. And immediately. This little word immediately, euthus, that's one of Mark's favorite words. It brings out some of the Hebrew, the action. Hebrew is a very violent language. It's a very forceful language. It's a language that shows force. In creation, the book of Genesis, all the way through the book of Malachi, is in Hebrew, except for a little bit of Chaldee. And immediately, and this word immediately there shows action. It's happening right now. And immediately, yet, a little adverb there on page 171, and euthus is page 173, by the way. Him, of him, speaking. While he was still speaking to his disciples, remember he had woke them up the last time, and he tells them, you know, the time is near. It's now, happen. And I talked to you before, from the eternity past, Jesus stood as a lamb slain from before the foundation of the world. The world was created, the cosmos was created in eternity past, not in time. It was created in eternity past, but there were witnesses to it. Now the witnesses to it were created before the physical universe. And those are the angels and the spirits in the world. And all of them at one time were all in communion, all happy until Lucifer rebelled against God. And Lucifer was over the material creation of God, and he destroyed what God had created. And then God in Genesis verse 2 and verse onward there, then he begins to reconstruct the earth. The earth had become formless and void. And Spirit God suffered over, mourned over the faces of the deep. And then he begins to put it back together. And immediately, yet him, while he was still speaking, lalontes, and that comes from laleo. Now there's different words in Greek for speaking. This word here means to speak with a human language. In other words, Jesus was really human. You know, there are groups of people that believe that Jesus was just a spirit walking around. That it wasn't really flesh at all and blood. But right here, many things in here, but this one right here tells us he spoke with human language, with his lips, his tongue, with his palate, with his throat, with his voice box. Speaking, while he was still speaking, here comes Judas, paragenete. And he arrives, he comes alongside for himself, by the way, third person singular, present, indicative, middle. He comes there, the Judas. Now the word ho there is a nominative singular masculine definite article second declension word. That's a definite article. But it's not really there in Greek. See, there's brackets around that if you have the text. He arrives, Judas. Right here, this was a special Judas. There was more than one Judas. Judas is Judah. The name Judah is Judas. The main Jude is Judas. The main Judas is Judas. There are several different forms of this word, this name. Now, the Judas here is Judas Iscariot. Iscariot. What does Iscariot mean? Ish is man, isn't it? Iscariot. The man from Carioth. That's near Hebron. This Judas now, not some of the other, you know, Jesus had a brother named Judas, didn't he? Jesus had a brother named Judas, or Jude, or Judah, and he wrote the book of Jude. The Judas, or Judas, and then in one of the 12, he was one of the 12 apostles. This tells you who he was. Ace there, ace at page 119. This is numeral though. And this is limiting, this word haste there limits to one. This Judas. One of the 12, the duodeca. That comes from deca. That means 10. And duo, 2, or those 2. 2 and 12. And he comes with him. That little word meta there, that chi conjunction, and then the word meta, page 265, in your analytical Greek lexicon. And then we have with him, and that's the entered single masculine third person pronoun there, autou. And then there's a cloud. There's a crowd there, an oklos. Maryland.
Oxlow.
Oklos.
Oakland,
How many people are in Oklos?
5,000.
5,000 plus. So now we know from the Greek how many people there are. There's 5,000 plus people there. Now this is late in the night. And here 5,000 people, 5,000 plus people come against Jesus. We have the Herodian force here, the army, Herod's army is there. The group from the elders, these are all representatives of the Sanhedrin court. And there's 70 of them in the Sanhedrin court. And then Judas, one out of the 12, that tone there is a genitive plural masculine, one out of the ones of the 12, and with him a crowd, this crowd, 5,000 plus people, with swords. Makairo. What's wrong with them having swords? They broke the law. They broke the law. They have swords. Why? Why did they break the law? What does it say? The Jewish law says that on a holy day you could not carry a knife or a sword or a club. But this is a holy week here. There are all kinds of feasts going on. There's 3 Sabbaths this week. And this is a holy week. And they're carrying swords. Which they shouldn't be carrying swords. It's unlawful to carry knives and swords or weapons of any kind. Weapons and zulon. There's a club. The Irish have some type of a club, a shillelagh. That's what it's called. A shillelagh. They fought with these shillelaghs, whatever. They knocked people in the head with them. That's what this is. Now the word zulon literally means something made out of wood. You actually could even have a sword that's made out of wood if it's real hard wood. The material that they had at that time, you can make a sword out of stone, or you can make one out of real hard wood and polish it. And clubs. And beside this, the zulon, that's clubs. Clubs or knives made out of wood. You can even it could be even a spear. And then alongside this, with this little preposition here, the chief priest, acheron, acheron,
Pharaoh?
acheron. That's how you say that word, acheron. That's the chief priest, and that's genitive plural. These chief priests and the scribes, grammaton. Now we get our word grammar right from this Greek word right here. You know, the Greek language, all of our scientific language, a little bit of our legal terms, not very many, because most of the legal terms come from Latin because of the Catholic Church. And the words, this word here, our word grammar, grammarian, all of that word comes from this word here, grammaton. These are the scribes. These are the what you might call the educated group. The scribes, the ones that are educated, and they write down every legal contract. Every legal contract. And these scribes, by the way, knew who Jesus was. When he was born, where he was born, all of that. And they knew that he was born exactly where the Messiah, the Hamashiach, was supposed to be born. So all of their information testifies against them. Now the chief priest, including that, was a high priest. Who was the high priest? Caiaphas. The high priest was Caiaphas. Caiaphas was a non-believer. Now here is a group. He's over these this religious group here. We got the scribes, we got the Pharisees, we got the Sicarii, we got the Herodians, we got the Sadducees, and Herod. His army shows up here, the Herodians. We have the Sicarii of the Zealots here against him also. Everybody's represented here. I don't know whether any Essenes were there at all, because the Essenes, when Herod took over, he ran off all the real high priests, and they went down to the Qumran area, down by Jericho. And they were the ones that made all the writings. This is the ones they discovered in 1958, I believe it was. And where they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. These are the ones that wrote the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Essenes were, the Qumranians. And some of the writings were probably predated the Essenes by 1,000 years or more from the people that lived in the Qumran area. And the elders. The elders. Who were the elders? Those were the highly respected people that were the leaders of the people. They were the educated group. The whole gang of politicians are here against Jesus. Verse number 44 now. Duodeke, de, ho, paradidos, auton, cis, semon, autois, legon, hon, an, phileso, autos, no, estem, tratesate, auton, kai, apagete, asphalos. Now this verse starts out with that wicked diversive conjunctive particle there, day. Moreover, he had given, that is, this duodeca there. And that's a pluperfect is like a future perfect now. That's a very rare verb form here. Third person singular, pluperfect, indicative, active from didomi. Hopefully, moreover the one, handing over. This pluperfect is like a future perfect, except it has hope in it. I want to do this. Judas Iscariot, man from Carioth, Judah. You know what Judah means? Praise Jehovah. He had a good name, but he did violence to it. He had given the one handing over him a signal, a sign. Handing over, paradidos, para from paradidomi. That's nominative, singular, masculine, present, participle, active. He had been doing this for a long time. He had been planning to betray him for a long time. Now Judas had some pretty high offices in that early church, didn't he? Mm-hmm. The church was called out in Galilee. Here is the treasurer. And not only is he a treasurer, he's an apostle. He has power to heal and all this. It was given to him, transferred to him. Jesus not only had power to heal, but he could give that power to others where they could heal. And this man knew Jesus was Messiah. But he also was money hungry. Now he's the treasurer of the church. Now Larry, the last thing you want to do is take a thief and make him a treasurer of the church. You don't want to do that, do you?
No.
But he is. That's what he is. He's the thief. This guy here, he's been pilfering the bag for a long time. Remember when the two Marys anointed him, the two different women that anointed his feet? Mm-hmm. And it took this very special, high dollar, expensive burial medicine and put on his feet and anointed his head. And Judas said, that could have been sold for so much money. Why did you do that? Because he wanted to steal it. But all he could steal was not enough. We have politicians in America that the only reason why they become a politician is so they can steal. So they can make their families rich. We can just name off the families that have done that. They were very poor, and how do you have 4 or 5 multi-million-dollar homes with what we might call the paycheck of the senator or representative? How do you do that? Just exactly what Judas did. He never had enough money. He never had enough. And handing over him, and he's going to give him a susimon. A susimon. Say susimon. This is a signal. This is the token. This is an agreement. I'm going to give you a sign. I'm going to give you a susimon. And you know what the sign was? We're going to find out. To them, that's dative, plural, masculine, third person pronoun, and he's saying this. He kept telling them this. He said this over and over. That's nominative, singular, masculine, present participle. He said it over and over and over again. You can see him telling and begging them and instructing them exactly how to do this. You know, in the world there are a lot of criminals. Some of the criminals are in high places. And when they do a job, they try to cover it up. When they do a hit job, and when they kill somebody, they figure out how to cover it up to where there would be no information, no evidence leading to them. And it's saying, whomever, hone on, whomever I may kiss. This is a kiss of Satan. Word kiss, now, phileso. When you kiss somebody, and now, in the world, you go back in the Middle East, these are what we call Oriental people. This is an Oriental society. The Hebrews were a very emotionally outspoken people. When a Hebrew would meet another Hebrew, many times they would kiss them right on the mouth. Kiss them right on the mouth. And hug them. Sometimes they kiss them on both cheeks. A kiss is supposed to be a sign of close affection. It comes from the word affection. It comes from the word deep friendship. When you kiss somebody, you surrender to them and said, I'm surrendering myself, my will, my person to you. You can trust me. When you kiss somebody, that's saying you can trust me. This was a betrayal. This betrayal, the paradidos, was a kiss. That's a sign. He said, I shall kiss. First person singular, first aorist, subjunctive active, that I may kiss this person. If I can find him, I'm going to kiss him. I'll do it. That's subjunctive mode. I'll do it. If I can find him, I'm going to give him a kiss of death. The kiss of death. And he it is, or he is, autos, nominative singular masculine, third person pronoun, he is, third person singular present indicative active from Amy. He is, and then he used the word kratesate. Kratesate. That comes from krateo, second person plural, first aorist imperative active. You do this. You grab a hold of him. Grab a hold of this man. Don't turn him loose. You know, all the times before, Jesus just walk out when they were going to kill him. You remember the first time he got up there in Nazareth, and he told them that he was the Messiah, and they wanted to kill him and throw him off a cliff and everything. He just walked away. They couldn't find him. But now, Judas was there when this happened before. Not so much there at that synagogue, but when they tried to kill him in several different episodes, he knew, he saw him walk away. And he said, now, don't let him go. Don't you dare let him go. This is my money. I'm going to get paid for this. This is my paycheck coming here. I'm a politician too. Latch on him. And, conjunction. This comes from apo and ago. Now, in John 1 and 18, we have this verb there, but we have it in a different form. Second aorist, indicative middle voice. No one has seen God at any time, but the only begotten God, that one being in the bosom of God, that one has led himself out. That's where it comes from right here, apo and ego. Now right here, he said, now, you latch on to him, and you escort him away. Then he uses another word here. Asphalos. And this is an adverb. It's on page 57 and 58 in the Analytical Greek Lexicon, by the way, by Zondervan. This word asphalos, it means not slipping, not falling, not slipping. Don't you fail. Don't let the fish slip off the hook. Don't let the fish slip off the hook. Now, when you go fishing, Larry, I think I've taken you fishing up here, haven't I? Up here at the pond?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people fish with hooks that don't have barbs on them. They got a sharp point but no barbs. And when you go up there, I usually use a hook and I flatten the barb out so it won't hold on to them. Now, if you hook one of those fish up there, you have to keep the line tight because the barbs won't hold the hook in their mouth. You have to keep it tight so they can't spit it out. And this here is don't take the barb off the hook. You latch on him securely. Judas did not want his filthy lucre to slip out of his hands. Means not to stumble or fall. It means to secure. It means certain, without fail, safely, assuredly. All these things, and it is an adverb, and that's an active thing. Don't you dare let him slip out of your hands. Don't you dare turn loose of him. Once you get your hands on him, don't turn loose. He's walked away from you all these other times. Now this, my paycheck is depending on your ability to hold on to him. What a scoundrel. Well, that's who he was. Sometimes devils get in God's churches, don't they? Here's one. He had an office of the highest office, which was an apostle, and he had another office in there. Of course, you know, Matthew was the scribe. Now we have a church, by the way, before the day of Pentecost here. We've got scribe, we've got a clerk in the church, and we got a treasurer in the church, and we got 12 apostles. The first gift placed in the church was the 12 apostles. So we have all of this. We have this church here. Now he betrayed his Lord, and he betrayed the church that put the trust in him to be the treasurer and also an apostle. Last verse in this message here. What is it, Marilyn? How does it start? Verse 45. Kai, Elthon, Euthus, Pros, Elthon, Alto, Legay, Rabbi, Kai, Kate, Philese, Alton, Hoi, De, Epibalon, Tas, Keros, Alto, Kai, Ekra, Teson, Alton. The kiss of death, the kiss of Satan. And that little conjunction, page 208, and then having come, nominative, singular, masculine, second aorist, participle, active voice. Having come, and now we have the second aorist there. It's punctiliar, but it's a little durative linear on it. It's like a lobe on a camshaft. If you're going to high performance cam, you've got a cam sometimes that lifts a little bit higher, but the real thing is the duration that the valves are open, the duration. And you'll set and you'll hear that car go bloop, 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 like that. And it will be going at 1,000 or 1,200 RPMs doing that. Because it's open. And I just use that illustration here to show you that having come to this area, he looks around real closely. He's a thief in the night. He's a burglar. He's a killer. Having come, immediately, here we have that little youth, this is a good word that Mark is so fond of, page 173. Then, having approached, that comes from pros erchomai, pros elthon, that is nominative, singular, masculine, second aorist, participle, active voice. He's doing this, it's actively he's doing this. Having approached him, to him, dative, singular, masculine, third person pronoun, and then he says third person singular, present, indicative, active. And this word lego here is a different word than the other word. We have laleo and we have lego. What does lego mean? What's the idea of lego?
Ducks in a row.
Well, kinda. A fence post in a row. What else? Where does it really come from? Have you ever seen a bird out in your yard over there, Larry?
Yeah,
Yeah. What are they doing usually?
put it on the ground.
Scratching around and picking things up they like. This word here comes from that. You see a little bird out in the yard picking up things. That's what it really means. Have a bird picking up stuff. And Lego, what you do is you have a vocabulary and you pick out things in the vocabulary and you line them up like fence posts. And then you speak it. This is what we might call logicians. Logically put words in a row. And he says, he's picking out words out of his vocabulary now, and he says unto him, this dirty rat, this snake in the grass, And he says unto him, Rabbi, Rabbi. And that's
Father,
Rabbi means teacher. It means doctor,
doctor,
one of high learning.
master,
Rabbi. It's got a row on the front with an R, and it's got a rough breather, so it says Rabbi. You're breathing rough when you say Rabbi. And the word rabbi in the English language comes right from that. That's a Hebrew term. Rabbi, teacher, master teacher, doctor of letters. A person to be called a rabbi is a doctor of letters. Now, rabbi in times of old had to do two things. First of all, they had to have the learning. Okay? They had to learn, and they had to be a teacher, and they had to be a master teacher. They had to be educated. They had to be respected by others. Gamaliel was a highly respected rabbi, but he was nothing like Jesus. Rabbi, teacher, master, doctor of letters, and kata philesa. Third person singular, first aorist, indicative, active. He kissed him. When his lips met his lips, and they did, he kissed him right in the mouth. When his lips met his lips, that was a betrayal. They latched on to him. Fervently kissed him with a great facade of affection. Of course, autotone there, it's accusative, singular, masculine, third person pronoun, second declension word. He kissed him and kissed him. He kissed him to say for sure that this is him. Get him. This is the one. This is not a kiss of affection or love. This is a kiss of murder. This is a murderous kiss. You come up and you kiss somebody and stick a knife in their heart.
mafia,
Mafioso. Like the Sicarii. Of course, now, I want to tell you something. Judas Iscariot was in the mafia. He was in the Sicarii. The Jewish mafia, the ones that went around into the Roman feast and went in there with their long coats on and their stilettos. And they'd go in there and they'd slip up behind a Roman soldier and they would stick a knife up in his high part of his stomach here and into his heart and twist it, pull it out, and walk off. And hide that dagger underneath that cloak. This is the old term, cloak and dagger. That's where it came from, cloak and dagger. This is it. This is a cloak and dagger man. Cloak and dagger man. Our Father, we send this message out to you for your honor and glory, I pray. May you use your word wherever it goes. And Father, please answer our prayer requests that we've had for the different ones today. With cancer and other problems. I just pray that you heal them, watch over them, guide the doctors in every way, and nurses, as they go through this hard time in their lives. Father, please forgive me.